You know, you're all tech leaders. Can you talk about the journey getting there and what that's like for you today?
Absolutely. Here's the amazing thing about my journey, I think, is that I wasn't exposed to tech, believe it or not, until college. I had to take a class in information systems. That's what they called it back then, just to be able to graduate. And I struggled and struggled to get my C. It was amazing. After college, my entree into tech um, wasn't anything that I was even thinking about. I landed in tech in a sales role. So, over the years, as time went by, I honed my craft better, and I was able to escalate through the ranks just because of my sales numbers. But that high performance, being in the top, 2 or 3% of all the other sales reps, didn't get me to a management role. I was looked over time and again by white male counterparts who oftentimes were underperforming in sales, and they were promoted based on their potential rather than their track record.
Hmm.
I always had my track record with me. Um, However, after having a couple hard knocks and a couple of good cries, I realized that, well, that's not going to help. So, you've got to change up the game a bit, right? You've got to understand and have a plan and be intentional about what you want to do. So, understanding and articulating my value and finding my voice was probably the best thing I could have ever done for myself in terms of advancing. I had to diversify my network beyond my family and friends to include more people in the industry, more people within the organization, and and step outside of my comfort zone. Letting leadership know, what I wanted to do, and having them work with me, partnering with my manager and my manager's manager about what my goals and aspirations were, and to help me develop the skills that I need in order to help the organization meet company goals. So it was all around partnership, having a strategy and a plan. I was going to combine those two words. And finally, just asking for the promotion. When the opportunity presents itself, I couldn't expect somebody to tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, Yvette, we think this would be a good role for you. Um, that's never worked for me. So asking for what I wanted, working hard for it, and partnering with other people who are in a position to help, seeking a personal board of advisors, if you will, has helped me get to where I am today. And I'm looking forward to, even now, I'm still looking to continue to advance in my career.
Yeah, so I actually was introduced to tech early on. My dad was in IT, and so he always drilled it into us of we need to be able to do this on our own, and things are going to be moving forward. So you need to make sure that you're looking at the IT space. So even for my senior graduation present, he and I built a computer together as our final, like, hey, you're going off to college, and just here's your last thing to take with you to college. And so I didn't even go to school for IT. I went for nursing, and so didn't even get into this space till later on in life. I was in oil and gas for a little while, and then with the crash of it, I went into the telecom space and worked my way up there. I was in their HR department and working with people. I love to help grow people and grow them into their next roles. And then eventually took that on myself, and I'm like, okay, we're going to go into marketing and sales for telecom because I just found a huge interest in the products and learning about them. And you found out so much more in those fields. And so when I joined up with RocketCyber, they are so educational in what they're doing. They teach you the product, the ins and outs of it, how it works, and how to grow it to the next level. So it's been great to see that there is such a good male leadership at RocketCyber to do that. Because most companies that I've worked for, they're like, nope, you're doing your one role. That's it. We don't want to help you get to the next level. So it's been really nice working with a company that does that for you.
So I I started out inspired by technology as a child. I was the kid that used to take the phone apart and take the TV apart, much to my parents' dismay. Just I needed to know how it worked. I needed to understand it. But I never really viewed IT as a career until, about 4 days before I went to university, and I last minute switched my major. I was originally going to go and study medicine because I enjoyed it, but not nearly as much as I enjoyed technology. But I just never saw it as a possibility. And finally, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try, and I'll fall back on medicine. Fall back on medicine. If the whole IT thing doesn't pan out, but to me it was it was a risk. It was an experiment, and because I didn't feel like it was accessible to me at the time, and luckily it worked out. But mucking through my career, I remember earlier in my career, Yvette touched on a really great point. I didn't advocate for myself at all, and I'd worked twice as hard as my white male counterparts. I'd accomplished twice as much, and I was still not getting kudos, recognition, raises, promotions. And it took me a long time to really come to the realization that the game is rigged for those of us that are in diversity minority groups. It wasn't until I figured that out, it really clicked for me, that I realized, how it is you can move forward as a woman.